Good morning. I'd like for you to do me a favor. I'd like for you to think about the last time you had a personal crisis. Now, it could be that very moment when you're sitting in front of your computer and it crashes and you lose something really important. It could be what I heard my friend say the other day, he dropped his phone in the toilet. And there's others of you out there, I know there is. But on a serious note, and it might be hard for the people in this room, including myself, to think about, but a personal crisis, a financial crisis. A financial crisis so severe that you see that you can't feed your children the next day. I think a crisis that we've all experienced is a crisis that was just talked about. A wildfire. San Diegans are close to home with that. Picture a wildfire coming across a valley or a hill towards your home. You need to evacuate. What do you do? Where's your family at that time? Where do you go? Not a high-tech service 4 years ago. When I started there at 211, which again is a place where people call for help for all types of services, I came in thinking, let's make this place high-tech. There's got to be better ways to get more people served. But shortly after, only 3 weeks after I started, the fires hit, and 211 quickly became the place that people called. 500,000 people were evacuated out of their homes. And during that week, over 100,000 people called. Now, what was really surprising is that most of the information we were given out was available online, through the media and other channels. But what our 1,200 volunteers who were answering the calls heard were people were scared. And they were trying to make a critical decision like leaving their house or what evacuation route to take, and they wanted to speak to a live person. Now, it may not surprise many of you, but for us, it wasn't until we saw the sheer volume of calls that came in that it really struck us. Now, over the years, as you can see, our technology has improved. But our greatest achievement is our people. 70 staff that come in every day ready to listen to over 1,000 calls, 1,000 people each day that are calling for various needs. So over the years, we've answered hundreds of thousands of calls. Emergencies like Hurricane Gustav and Ike, epidemics like H1N1, and yes, most recently, September's blackout, which knocked out power for over 3 million people in San Diego. Now, what was interesting is we have people that are calling us during that time just to speak to someone live. And it's that personal connection that someone needs during a personal crisis. Now, we talk about personal crisis and we talk about community crisis. Just outside our door, we have a community crisis, and it's called hunger. Hundreds of thousands of people going hungry every day. And to make matters worse, many people who qualify for food assistance programs aren't enrolled in those programs. Now there's cumbersome process, applications, and other barriers, which over the last few years, through several partnerships with nonprofits and government, we've been able to improve the process. And it's what you'd expect from a high-tech town like San Diego. But the biggest improvement, the most substantial improvement, has been that personal connection. Why aren't people applying for services? They're too proud. But when someone calls in for food assistance and we can tell them where they can go get emergency food, it opens up a conversation that it's okay for them to be asking for help and that there's services and programs out there that are there to provide it. And it's that holding hand that our staff provide to individuals that are over the phone. And what you find is that when you start that conversation, it's just the tip of the iceberg. That when we're talking to them about food assistance, we ask questions like, when was the last time you went to the doctor? How many children do you have? Where are you living? That conversation quickly becomes a human connection, something that technology cannot provide. It's called human intuition. It's called human contact. And this applies to every community, not your stereotypical homeless, which we always think about when we think about a community in need. The community that I'm referring to are returning men and women from Iraq. San Diego is the largest returning military community in our country, with more and more men and women coming back. And it's a new face of a veteran. These young men and women are coming back to San Diego. They're coming back to their towns throughout the country. And I don't know if you know this, but every 80 minutes, one of these veterans is taking their own life. They're taking their own life because they don't know how to ask for help. They've been taught to stand their ground, and now we're asking them to stand down. So we've started a program called Courage to Call, which allows them to make that call. And who better to have that conversation with a veteran than someone who's been there and done that? And so we've staffed our center with veterans able to have that conversation. Again, there's hundreds of websites that are available that list resources for our veterans in terms of services that are provided. But they're not addressing the number one need, which is the ability to ask for help. So we all know that we live in a technology age where there's an app for everything. We know the address of every taco shop. My daughter knows the Black Friday deals, and they're all out there. So at 211, we've developed our own app. It's our people, trained to listen, ready to help, and to create that human connection. That human connection, that power of the human connection. Our fate of humanity is counting on it. Thank you.